There's never been a time. There's never been a time. There's never been a time as fucked up as this. As fucked up as this. I didn't fuck it up. You probably didn't fuck it up. But they, whoever they are, they fucked it up. Now it's fucked up. I can't unfuck it up. You probably can't unfuck it up. And if we're counting on them to unfuck it up, then we're all fucked. Okay, now here's where you come in. You don't have to sing, just turn to the person next to you and ask them nicely, did you fuck it up? Go on, ask them. How about you? Did you fuck it up? Now sit back and look at them and say, because you look like someone who could have fucked it up. Now it's fucked up. Now let's pick ourselves up off the floor and create a tone of camaraderie and ask, could you help unfuck it up? And then say, are you really so fucking busy you can't take 1 fucking minute to help unfuck it up? Then lose the righteous asshole attitude and take a breath and say, because I'm willing to pick one thing to help unfuck it up. Won't you join me? Oh, that's better. Does that feel better? Yeah, I'm feeling the love. The problem is, you just can't help feeling bitter that it's fucked up to begin with. You just go round and round like this. Okay, back with me now. I didn't fuck it up. Let it out. Come on. You know you feel it. You probably didn't fuck it up. You don't have to believe it. Just go with it for now. But that's right. Shift the blame. They fucked it up. Now it's fucked up. That's right. Okay, yeah, you're clapping, but the problem is deep down inside, you're feeling depressed and hopeless, right? You're just gonna change the world. What the hell happened? Okay, I got it. We're gonna come together for this one. I need your help. We're gonna fill this room up with love and inspiration, and it won't last past the time you leave here tonight, but everybody on this side, let's all unfuck it up. Okay, real loud and proud, let's all unfuck it up. Now you gotta keep going without me when I leave you. Here we go. Let's all unfuck it up. Doesn't that feel good? Keep it rolling. Now over here, we have a special part. It's a little repetitive, but it's fucked, 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 it's fucked. It's fucked, it's fucked. Can you do that? It's fucked, it's fucked. Okay, middle, ready? I wanna be an unfucker. I wanna be an unfucker. That's right, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked. Oh, yeah, really loud. One more time with all your heart now.
So what is consumerism? Consumerism is the belief that personal well-being and happiness depends to a very large extent on the level of personal consumption, particularly on the purchase of material goods. The idea is not simply that well-being depends upon a standard of living above some threshold, but that at the center of happiness is consumption and material possessions. A consumerist society is one in which people devote a great deal of time, energy, resources, and thought to consuming. The general view of life in a consumerist society is consumption is good, and more consumption is even better. The United States is an example of a hyper-consumerist society. People are constantly bombarded with advertisements urging them to buy things. This means that if an average child, 2 to 11, sees over 25,000 ads on television a year, and an adult sees 52,500, they will spend over a week of their lives every year watching these advertisements. And adults actually watch more. Such advertisements promote not simply specific products, but also a vision of the good life and what it takes to be happy. Shopping is experienced by many people as an exciting recreational activity. People go deeply into debt in order to buy things beyond basic necessities. A larger house, a giant television, a fancy car. These are all hallmarks of a society within which consumption is at the center of life. Nothing illustrates the problem of consumerism better in the United States than the growth in the average size of new houses since the early 80s. From the 1960s until the early 80s, the median size of a new home in the United States varied up and down around, 1,500 square feet. From 1983, this increased. And in 2007, 1,500 went to 2,200. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. By 2007, less than 3% of new homes were under 1,200 square feet and over 40% over larger than 2,500 square feet. You know, when you go to Texas and they say everything is bigger in Texas, what's the average size of a home in Texas? About 3,500 square feet. Anything that's new, that is. What's more is that this dramatic change in the size of new homes occurred at a period when average family size was declining. So this constitutes an even greater increase in the amount of living space per person. These large new houses, of course, need to be filled with stuff. And this too reflects hyper-consumerism. Bigger televisions, home theaters, exercise equipment, spacious designer kitchens, 3-car garages. So why is this a problem, you ask? Sounds arrogant to say to someone, you are too preoccupied with consumption. You spend too much time shopping. You would be happier if you were less focused on acquiring material possessions. Aren't people the best judge of their own desires and preferences? And doesn't the free market simply translate those preferences into choices? So if people are buying huge houses, doesn't that just mean they want them? We've already identified a problem here. Environmental sustainability. It's simple. The planet is simply incapable of supporting American-style consumption of non-renewable natural capital. And it has to become orders of magnitude more efficient and restorative. Either we need to stop buying so many toys, or our consumption of non-renewables is going to, or is, a problem, as you can see here in an average American supermarket. research on happiness, it tells us something that we have always sort of known, but that competitive consumption, it tends to crowd out. Happy people are those that feel they are interested in their work. And I think I is useful. I feel part of a community, and I can spend time with friends and family. Nobody on their deathbed says, gee, I wish I had more toys and spent even less time with my spouse, my friends, and my kids. If people really want to be better off with a less hyper-consumerist lifestyle, why do they embrace consumerism? The basic idea here is that through various mechanisms, there is a systematic consumption bias in the decisions people make. If this bias were eliminated, people would, in fact, make different choices, consume less, and in the end, be happier. The issue then is not really that there is anything intrinsically wrong with shopping and consuming as such, but rather the nature of the market system in which we live, which shapes people's preferences and choices excessively in favor of consumption over other values. So basically, consumption, what we're seeing here, what is it doing to us? What is it doing to the planet? I think we all know the answer. Besides the obvious of consumerism in the United States, such as the big houses and the cars and the TVs and the, toys, motorcycles, ATVs, etc., there's an epidemic. And it's an epidemic caused by consumerism of unhealthy Americans. And it was really perfect for this age of coronavirus to attack Americans en masse. And not only that, besides the unhealthy American, then there are the entrepreneurial Americans who found that they could make money during this pandemic. They're making money by mass producing masks and sanitizers, which, while it's not a bad thing, just goes to show you that we are definitely a producing society. But the real problem with consumerism in the United States in the age of COVID is that people are still buying, and they're buying online. Even with a pandemic, even as the debt load has risen, Americans overspend. It's advertising and cultural shifts towards consumerism, and it's a never-ending trend. Anytime the urge strikes, we have the capability to act on it impulsively, and that creates a much greater challenge for us than ever was the case before. That culprit is an unending demand on our self-control. Like a muscle that tires after too much use, taking on too many willpower taxing tasks depletes our resources, and we have trouble succeeding at any of them. When there are too many other demands on your time, when you're under stress, meeting deadlines at work, even if you're working at home, dealing with a difficult relationship, you're going to be at risk for spending more and even eating more. And then the credit cards, easy. They further undermine the willpower. And you know what? To make matters worse,
the society just keeps saying spend anyway, no matter what. Advertisers spend millions researching how to induce us to purchase. The findings often lead to increasingly innovative and sometimes intrusive ways to market their products when they do market research. It's kind of crazy. I think it's very crazy. People may have more physical objects and possessions now than they had in previous generations, but many of them are deeply unhappy. So that unhappiness stems from a never-ending void. The more consumption, the more we consume, the more we shop, we never fill it. We're never happy. The simplicity of life that was once known is gone. And I would wager to say people were much happier at that time.
Eisenstein writes, quote, now this is where we're going to start to slay some gods, but we're also going to free you from traps that were built into your minds a long time ago. He writes, in any case, one's notion of spirit is that of something separate and unworldly, that yet can miraculously intervene in the material affairs and even animate and direct them in some mysterious way. It's hugely ironic and hugely significant that the one thing on the planet most closely resembling the foremost conception of the divine is money. It is an invisible, immortal force that surrounds and steers all things, omnipotent and even limitless. An invisible hand that it is said makes the world go around. Yet money today is an abstraction. At most, symbols on a piece of paper, but usually mere bits in a computer. It exists in a realm far removed from materiality, and in that realm it is exempt from nature's most important laws. For it does not decay and return to the soil as all other things do, but it is rather preserved, changeless in its vaults and computer files, ever growing thanks to interest. It bears the properties of eternal preservation and everlastingness, both of which are profoundly unnatural. Looking down from the Olympian heights, Eisenstein writes, the financiers called themselves masters of the universe, channeling the power of the God they served to bring fortune and ruin or ruin upon the masses, to literally move mountains, raise forests, change the course of rivers, cause the rise and fall of nations. Like the clergy of a dying religion, they exhort their followers to greater sacrifice while blaming their misfortunes either on sin, greedy bankers and irresponsible consumers, or on the mysterious whims of God, the financial markets. What we call recession, earlier cultures might have called God abandoning the world. Money is disappearing, and with it, another property of spirit, the animating force of the human realm. At this writing, all over the world, machines stand idle, Eisenstein writes. Factories have ground to a halt, construction equipment that sits derelict in the yard, parks and libraries are closing, and millions go homeless and hungry, while the housing units stand vacant and food rots in the warehouses. Yet all the human and material inputs to build the houses, distribute the food, and run the factories still exist. It is rather something immaterial, that animating spirit which has fled. Money. He continues, we do not realize that our concept of the divine has attracted to it a God that fits that concept, and given it sovereignty over the earth, By divorcing soul from flesh, spirit from matter, and God from nature, we have installed a ruling power that is soulless, alienating, ungodly, and unnatural. So when Eisenstein says, speak of money being sacred, I am not invoking a supernatural agency to infuse sacredness to the inert, mundane objects of nature. I am rather reaching back to an earlier time before the divorce of matter and spirit. Eisenstein writes, the financial crisis we are facing today arises from the fact that there is almost no social, cultural, natural, and spiritual capital left to convert into money. Centuries of near continuous money creation have left us so destitute that we have nothing left to sell. And I might add, we sold our souls a long time ago. So let me be clear today as I stand here on this podium waiting for retribution. I am here to kill your God today. I'm here to spit in the face of a God that separated man from this planet by giving us dominion. Because it was in the separation and charging the human race and saying we had the right to rule over nature that has made everything else possible and has made us accept and swallow an infinite growth monetary paradigm that even as it's dying, we are conditioned to look to for our salvation, even while it's standing on our chest and strangling us. We did a real fine job of being masters of this planet, didn't we? The people who have run the monetary paradigm, the economic paradigm, since money was first invented, have wanted to mystify it and to make everybody believe that only some expert could understand the mumbo-jumbo of the priesthood of money. Three things only anybody needs to know about the way money works around the world today. One, fiat currency. What is money? If I were to take a bill out of my wallet, and I reach in my wallet and I pull out this bill. It's $20. Wow. Okay. Can I eat it? Can I roll it up and chew it? Do I get calories and vitamins? No, I don't. Can I crumple it up, throw it in my gas tank? Is the car going to go anywhere? No, it's going to clog the fuel injectors, maybe. This is only a symbol. This doesn't mean anything. It's fiat. It's created out of thin air because somebody turned on a printing press. That's all it is. Before the great growth of population, which occurred with the advent of oil, came this revolution in the monetary system as well. There was a time when the pound sterling actually meant a pound of sterling silver. There was only so much silver out of the ground. It was tangible. You couldn't print silver. It was something real. You cannot print any more money than there is energy to back it up. That simple. So we have fiat currency. Then we have something called fractional reserve banking. If you were to bring me in a $10 deposit, I could make $90 worth of loans based on just having that $10 in my drawer, because it's all calculated on the premise that not everybody's going to come in and want their cash all at once. That's called a run on the bank. So they have calculated the odds, much as Vegas odds makers do. And said, okay, well, you know, very little odds under normal conditions. When I lend now a total of $100 based on that $10 deposit, that's more money that I create out of thin air. Well, gee, that means that in order to pay off, whoever gets that money has to make more money still to feed in at the bottom to pay the bank so that the bank can create still more money. You know, I think it's probably pretty safe at this point in time with the collapse of the U.S. economy to say that pretty much everybody is understanding how compound interest works. The higher the interest rate on your credit card, for those people who had, 20, 25% cards, that means they're creating that much more money if they don't pay cash every month. What I have just described is a pyramid scheme. We live in an infinite growth paradigm, which requires growth forever. It's not that Bernie Madoff was a pyramid scheme or Stanford was a pyramid scheme. The whole economy is a pyramid scheme. The whole global economy cannot be sustained. It requires infinite growth. But infinite growth collides with finite energy. First law of thermodynamics, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. The second law, energy converts in only one direction, from usable to unusable. That's called the law of entropy. Things break down, and in every energy transaction, some energy is always lost. So you have finite energy, and you have a financial paradigm which demands infinite growth, and we are at the point of human history where the infinite growth paradigm collides with something that is more powerful than money is.